There is a distinct, unmistakable shift in the air when the world suddenly stops to watch a single screen, a collective gasp felt by millions across continents simultaneously. It happens without warning, a quiet notification pinging on phones in the dead of night for some and during the chaotic rush of midday for others, breaking the routine of everyday life. The sudden notification that Kim Taehyung was suddenly broadcasting live sent an immediate shockwave through the global community, but what began as a routine moment of connection quickly evolved into an unforgettable chapter of shared history. The screen flickered to life, exposing a dimly lit space where the soft glow of a smartphone illuminated familiar, deeply missed features, immediately drawing viewers into a sanctuary of profound warmth and unexpected vulnerability. For months, the silence surrounding the members had felt like an echo in an empty room, making this sudden, unannounced window into their world feel less like a simple social media stream and more like a long-awaited homecoming. Before the mind could even process the reality of seeing Taehyung sitting there, a sudden wave of laughter echoed from just outside the camera frame, a sound so deeply embedded in the hearts of millions that it was instantly recognizable. The camera tilted, slightly unsteady, revealing the comforting presence of Jung Hoseok and Jungkook standing right beside him, instantly melting away the months of distance and separation with their shared smiles. The sheer shock of seeing all three of them together in such a raw, spontaneous setting created a rush of pure adrenaline for everyone watching, as the live counter numbers spun out of control, shattering records with every passing second. There was no elaborate stage, no stylized makeup, and no pre-arranged script to dictate their movements, only three lifelong friends sharing a quiet space, their eyes reflecting the warmth of a bond that time and distance could never diminish. The air felt heavy with unsaid emotions, an underlying understanding of how much they had missed this direct line to the people who had supported them through every peak and valley of their monumental journey. As the live stream progressed, the initial chaotic excitement seamlessly transitioned into a deeply comforting atmosphere, where the smallest gestures carried the weight of years of shared history. Jungkook leaned into the frame with his characteristic, bright energy, playfully teasing the older members while Taehyung watched with an indulgent, quiet smile that spoke volumes about the unspoken understanding between them. J-Hope, acting as the emotional anchor he has always been, radiated a comforting warmth that seemed to bridge the gap between the screen and the millions of eyes watching from every corner of the earth. They spoke about the simplest things, from their recent daily routines and the quiet moments of their current lives to the unspoken longing they carry for the grand stages and loud cheers that defined their youth. Every look exchanged between the three of them felt like a silent reassurance, a subtle reminder to the world that no matter how much things change around them, the core of who they are together remains entirely untouched. The emotional tension reached its peak when the casual banter drifted into a quiet moment of reflection, the kind of silence that feels incredibly heavy yet beautifully sacred when shared with millions of people simultaneously. Taehyung looked directly into the camera lens, his deep gaze holding a level of sincerity that made every viewer feel as though he were speaking directly to them in an empty room. He expressed a quiet, lingering gratitude for the patience and unwavering love that has followed them through their quietest seasons, acknowledging the invisible thread that keeps them tied to their global family even when the lights are down. Jungkook and J-Hope nodded silently beside him, the playfulness fading into an expression of shared reverence for this community they built together from nothing. It was a stark reminder of the immense weight they carry on their shoulders, balanced beautifully by the pure, unadulterated joy they find in simply being together and sharing a fleeting moment of vulnerability with the world. When the screen finally faded back to black, leaving millions staring at their own reflections in the sudden quiet, the impact of those brief minutes lingered like a beautiful melody that refuses to leave the mind. It was a moment that proved, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that the connection between these men and their global community transcends music, stages, and official schedules. It is a living, breathing bond forged in shared growth, carried through seasons of waiting, and revitalized in a single, unannounced moment on a quiet evening. Long after the notifications vanished and the live stream concluded, the warmth of their laughter and the sincerity of their words remained, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of everyone who watched, a comforting promise that some bonds are simply timeless. The digital space transformed into a living archive of shared memory as the broadcast continued, capturing a rare glimpse of the three artists in an environment entirely stripped of the usual industry grandeur. As Jungkook leaned closer to the screen to read the rapidly scrolling messages from every corner of the globe, the reflection of thousands of text strings danced in his eyes, creating a silent dialogue between the creators and the community that built them. There was a poignant beauty in watching J-Hope gently adjust the camera angle to ensure everyone was fully visible, a familiar gesture of care that highlighted his enduring role as the steady protector of the group's dynamic. Taehyung sat slightly back, his expression a tapestry of deep thought and serene contentment, occasionally humming a familiar melody under his breath that sent ripples of recognition through the live chat. Every second that ticked by felt like a stolen piece of time, a rare sanctuary where the boundaries of celebrity dissolved completely, leaving behind only the raw essence of human connection. The atmosphere grew even more intimate as they began to reminisce about past tours, laughing about backstage mishaps and late-night hotel room conversations from years ago that still felt vividly present to them. Jungkook's laughter, sharp and infectious, filled the room as he recalled a specific memory from their early days on the road, prompting J-Hope to lean back with a wide smile that radiated pure nostalgia. It became fiercely clear to anyone watching that these memories were not just milestones in a historic career, but the foundational blocks of a brotherhood that had survived the intense pressures of global scrutiny. Taehyung reached out to tap Jungkook's shoulder, a simple, grounding gesture that spoke of decades spent navigating the highest peaks of fame together, side by side. The emotional resonance of the moment lay in its absolute lack of pretense. They were not performing for an audience, but rather inviting their global family to sit at the table with them, sharing the warmth of an enduring flame that time had only made brighter. As the late hour began to show in the soft fatigue around their eyes, a quiet, unspoken understanding passed among the three of them, signaling that this brief window into their world was drawing to its natural close. J-Hope spoke directly to the viewers, his voice dropping to a comforting cadence. As he urged everyone to stay healthy, to eat well, and to hold on to the joy found in the ordinary moments of everyday life. Jungkook offered a soft promise of future days filled with music and shared spaces, his earnest tone leaving no doubt about the fierce dedication he still holds for their collective future. Taehyung took one final, lingering look at the screen, a quiet smile playing on his lips as if he were trying to memorize the names flashing past before the connection severed. When the live transmission finally cut out, the sudden silence felt profound, a stark contrast to the vibrant energy that had filled the room just moments prior, leaving millions of people worldwide united in a quiet sense of gratitude for a beautiful, unscripted gift that would be remembered for years to come. The lingering quiet that followed the end of the broadcast did not signify a conclusion, but rather the beginning of an immense, collective sigh of relief that swept across the entire world, leaving a palpable warmth in its wake. In the minutes after the screen dissolved into darkness, the digital landscape erupted into a beautiful chaos of shared realizations, as people from different cultures, languages, and time zones began to piece together the profound significance of what they had just witnessed. It was the subtle nuances that began to dominate the global conversation, the small, blink and you miss it details that carried the truest emotional weight. Viewers noted the way Jungkook's gaze stayed fixed on his older brothers with an enduring reverence that has never shifted since he was a teenager, or how J-Hope's laughter functioned as a familiar, safety blanket for the entire room. These were not choreographed interactions designed for a camera lens, they were the instinctual, deeply ingrained habits of a family that had survived the fiercest storms of modern celebrity by leaning entirely on one another. As the initial rush of adrenaline began to settle into a deep, comforting nostalgia, a collective understanding emerged about the timing of this unexpected gathering. In a year filled with anticipation, quiet waiting, and the slow passage of time, this sudden gathering felt like a deliberate beacon of light sent out to pierce through the uncertainty of the seasons. The sheer spontaneity of Taehyung opening the live stream, paired with the immediate appearance of J-Hope and Jungkook, served as a profound reminder that the ties binding these individuals together are completely independent of schedules, promotions, or official stages. They chose to share their private, unstructured time simply because they felt the mutual need to look into the eyes of the people who have stood by them, transforming a standard smartphone broadcast into an emotional sanctuary. The unspoken tension that often accompanies the long periods of waiting completely evaporated, replaced by a renewed, unshakable faith in the journey that still lies ahead for them. What remains most striking about this quiet milestone is how it redefines the very nature of the bond between these artists and their global community, proving that distance is entirely an illusion when a connection is built on years of mutual growth. The lingering images of Taehyung's serene smile, J-Hope's grounding presence, and Jungkook's earnest promises became etched into the collective memory of the night, acting as a soft reassurance that the foundation of their world remains completely unshaken. It was a moment that allowed millions of people to breathe a little easier, to smile a little wider, and to feel a little less lonely in the quiet hours of the night. Long after the live stream counter reset to 0 and the notifications became history, the emotional resonance of those shared minutes continued to ripple outward, leaving behind a beautiful, enduring truth that some promises do not need to be spoken out loud to be felt completely in the heart.